that apply to employees in terms of this proposed act. Penalties under this proposed act based on contravention of specified provisions of this proposed act and are set out in the table below. We have three categories in the table. There's category, offenses, and indictment. Offense under new clause 21(1)(a). Disregard of abuse of provisions of the act or any policy issued under the act. Indictment, an imprisonment not exceeding 6 months and a fine not exceeding Kenyan shillings 200,000 or both. Offense under new clause 21(1)(a), with willful obstruction of any officer or agent of county administration. Indictments, same indictment applies. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, public participation in the processing of the bill was conducted. Constitutional framework for public participation. Mr. Speaker, the right to political participation is a foundation of public participation. Article 1(2) of the Constitution of Kenya enunciates this point on sovereignty of the people. It says that Kenyans may exercise their sovereign power either directly or through their democratically elected representative. The language of this provision resonates with Article 21 of the Universal Declaration on Human Rights, that is UDHR, Article 13 of the African Charter of Human and People's Rights, ACHPR, and Article 25 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, ICCPR, in bracket. Article 10 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 includes public participation as a national value and principle of governance. Clause 2A of the article explicitly mentions participation of the people, such as this value and governance principles is supposed to be adhered to whether a state organ, state officer, public officer, and all persons enacts, applies, or interprets any law. Therefore, the process of enacting legislation in the county assembly must bound by this provision of the Constitution. Article 118 of the Constitution directly invokes public participation in the legislative process. The provision states, Parliament, where Parliament here is pari materia with the county assembly, shall facilitate public participation and involvement in legislative and other businesses of Parliament and its committees. By dint of this constitutional provision, the Assembly is compelled to engage the public in process of law-making or other legislative business. Other provisions of the Constitution that provides for the foundation of public participation are as follows. Article 174C, which provides for the objects of devolution to give powers of self-governance to the people and enhance the participation of the people in the exercise of the powers of the state and in making decisions affecting them. Article 196(1)(b) provides for the public participation and county assembly powers, privileges, and immunities. And Article 201A provides for openness and accountability, including public participation in financial matters. The County Government Act 2012, clauses 87 and clause 91 respectively, which establish detailed principles and modalities and platforms for citizen participation in policy formulation and legislation, and the Kisumu Public Participation Act 2016, which provides for the procedure to be followed when conducting public participation exercise within Kisumu County. Call for public participation. Mr. Speaker and honorable members, through an advertisement in the Nation and Star newspapers that can be found in the annexure, the committee invited the public to submit views or make presentation regarding the bill as required by the provisions of Article 118 of the Constitution and Standing Order number 123 of the Kisumu County Assembly Standing Orders. Receipt of submissions and public hearings on the Kisumu County Administrative Village Units Amendment Bill 2023. Mr. Speaker, following the request to the general public to submit memoranda, the committee received a joint memoranda from a group of civil society organizations within Kisumu County dedicated to promoting good governance. The civil society organizations include the following: A. KMET, B. Naya Kenya, C. Cardnet, D. Team, E. Youth Alive Kenya, C. SIAG Kenya. The civil society organizations submitted as follows. And Mr. Speaker, this was copy-pasted as was presented by the civil society. The civil society organization submitted as follows: that as the bills attempt to allow county assembly, that is MCAs, to vet or approve the recruitment of village administrators is unnecessary and amounts to political interference and express executive functions. According to civil society organizations, in after the petitioners, proposed amendments in the bill grants the county assembly the authority to either vet or approve the recruitment of the devolved village administrator. It is essential to note that members of the county assembly are not classified as state officer. Therefore, vetting process should end with the position of chief officer and not extend to county assembly. Granting the county assembly this power, this open opportunity, may lead to unnecessary politicization and interference in the recruitment process, undermining the professionalism and impartiality required for this vital role. Potential for conflict interference. The petitioners further aver that granting the county assembly the authority to oversee the recruitment of village administrators who are pivotal in the effective functioning of our county raises concern about potential conflict of interest. We believe that this move may inadvertently blur the lines between the county assembly's legislative functions and the public service board responsibilities. Such a situation could lead to lack of transparency and impartiality in the recruitment process. Permanent and pensionable terms for ward administrators. The petitioners have further submitted that strongly recommend that ward administrators should be placed on permanent and pensionable terms, providing ward administrators with permanent positions with retirement benefits will not only ensure a stable and committed workforce, but also promote growth in public service. This measure will attract and retain qualified individuals, thereby enhancing the quality of service delivery at the ward level. Impact of legal hierarchy. The petitioners have submitted that the important to hear in mind that the Kisumu County Administration Village Unit Act 2019 is subservient to the County Government Act number 17 of 2012. The proposed amendment under consideration entail significant changes to the County Government Act number 17 of 2012. Due to this legal hierarchy, County Assembly's capacity to alterations to the Kisumu County Administration Village Unit Act 2019 is greatly restricted. In light of these concerns, we kindly request the County Assembly to reconsider the provisions in the Kisumu County Administrative Village Units Amendment Bill 2023 and address issues raised herein. We believe that a more inclusive and transparent approach to legislation and governance will benefit the citizens of Kisumu County. The petitioners have moved the committee to engage in further dialogue and collaborate with County Assembly to find the best solution that serve the best interest of our county. Proposals and comments from the public. Pursuant to the advertisement placed in both the Daily Nation and the Star newspaper, the committee facilitated public participation on 5th October 2023 in accordance with the following schedule. And in the schedule, in Moroni, it was conducted in Moroni Koro Ward from 9 a.m. Masogo Nyangoma Hall. Kisumu East, it was conducted in Koloa Central, 9 a.m. Ragumu Community Hall. Seme, Central Seme, 9 a.m. Kombewa Huduma Center. Kisumu Central, it was conducted in Market Milimani from 9 a.m. Kisumu Social Hall. Nyando, it was conducted in Aero Ward from 9 a.m. Karanda AIC Church. Kisumu West, it was conducted in Southwest Ward from 9 a.m. Ojola Resource Center. Nyakach, Central Nyakach, 9 a.m. at PAP.
What's the problem on the member for East Kanawawili?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In considering the Kisumu County Amendment Bill 2023, the committee took into account oral submissions from the public during its sittings in the sub-counties. The committee noted as follows. Mr. Speaker, there's a misplaced word there, very indulgence to allow members to replace the TVET with the county bill, So there's an error there. Mr. Speaker, following that, we came up with the following analysis. For Moroni, recommendation. During the public hearing of the bill in Moroni sub-county, the members of the public submitted the following recommendations. That the bill should provide for pensionable terms for the ward administrators. No observation. In Kisumu East, during the public hearing of the bill in Kisumu East sub-county, the members of the public submitted the following recommendations. That the timeline for formulation of regulation for the implementation of the Act be provided. That clear provisions on the management and administration of the village unit be provided, including the exact amount of remuneration. In Seme, During the public hearing of the bill in same sub-county, the members of the public submitted the following: that the provision for the pensionable term be provided for ward administrators. Observation: the public observed that the Principal Act ought to have been circulated to the general public in good time alongside the amendment bill. Kisumu Central: during the public hearing of the bill in Kisumu Central Sub-County, members of the public submitted the following recommendations: that the exact remuneration for the village council members be provided in the bill, that the amendment bill should be clear on the procedures of approval of the village council members and specify the extent of the approval. There was no observation for that particular sub-county. Nyando: during the public hearing of the bill in Nyando sub-county, the members of the public submitted the following recommendations: that the timeline upon which the regulatory authority shall be exercised should be provided in the bill, that the bill should provide clear provisions on the approval procedures. Kisumu West: during the public hearing of the bill in Kisumu West sub-county, the members of the public submitted the following amendments: that the bill should provide pensionable term limits for the ward admins. Nyakach: during the public hearing of the bill in Nyakach sub-county, the members of the public submitted the following recommendations: that the qualification for the appointment of the village administrators should be provided. Committee findings and observations. The committee made the following findings and observations on some of the potential legislative issues that may still arise on the Kisumu County Administration Village Unit Amendment Bill 2023. 1. That the bill has not provided for the meaning of what entails a special meeting, and therefore the mischief that amendment in section 15 of the Principal Act intended to prevent may still exist if what entails a special meeting is not defined. 2. That the bill has not provided for a timeline within which the regulatory authority should be exercised pursuant to the amendment in section 19 of the Principal Act. 3rd, that the amendment of section 10 of the Principal Act on procedures of the approval of the village council are still not clear as to what stage should the list of the members of the village council be submitted to the county assembly for approval. Committee recommendations. Mr. Speaker and honorable members, in light of the submissions of the memorandum, the oral representations made before the committee and the committee deliberations on the bill, the committee recommends that sections 2 of the Principal Act be further amended by insertion of the definition of the term special meeting in its alphabetical sequence as follows. Special meeting, in quotes, means a meeting held for a special and limited purpose, especially arising from unforeseen circumstances, and whose notice may not be issued within a period of 21 working days. That a new section be inserted immediately after section 10(1) of the Principal Act follows as follows. 10(2). The Public Service Board shall within 14 days upon completion of the interview process submit the list of village administrators and members of the village council to the county assembly for verification and approval. Without, that is proposed section 10(3), without prejudice to the generality of section 10(2) above, the Public Service Board shall, alongside the list of the proposed village administrators and members of the village council, submit a copy of advertisement on the vacancy of the office of the village administrator made in at least 2 media outlets with national circulation, and B, report on the village unit of residence and academic qualifications of the proposed village administrators and members of village council. 10.4. The County Public Service Board shall submit the lists contemplating in subsection 3. The County Public Service Board shall submit the list contemplated in subsection 3 above in accordance with the temporary templates provided for the first and second schedules of the Act. That further amendment caused on clause 2 of the bill, amendment on section 10.1 of the Principal Act by amending clause 10.2 as follows. Clause 10.2b is amended by deleting the word body immediately after the phrase experience and qualities meet the needs of the, and replacing therefore with the word office. That clause 3 of the bill and amendment on section 12 of the Principal Act be further amended to introduction of a new subsection immediately after subsection 12.3 as follows, and that will be 12.4. The CC member responsible for county administration shall within 7 working days upon appointment of village council issue a notice to the Salaries and Remuneration Commission to provide guidelines on allowances for village council members. That clause 5 of the bill on the amendment section 19 of Principal Act be amended in section 19.1 by inserting the words within 90 days immediately after the word shall. And if you have the Principal Act members, believe you are flowing together. That the bill be further amended by introducing a schedule to give further effect to the amendment in section 10 of the Principal Act as follows. First schedule, section 10 of the Act, Kisumu County Government, the Public Service Board. Report on qualification of village administrators submitted in accordance with section 10 of the amended Kisumu County Administration Village Units Act 2019. So there's a template there, and that template is intended for reporting by the Public Service Board. It includes serial number, village unit, shortlisted persons in that particular village, name of qualified candidates, academic qualification of the applicants, ID number or passport number, the ward of residence, village unit of residence. Second schedule, that is section 53 of the County Government Act 2012 and section 10 of the Act, Kisumu County Government. The Public Service Board, report on qualification of members of the Village Council submitted in accordance with section 10 of the amended Kisumu County Administration Village Unit Act 2019. There's another template for the Village Council members, serial number of the applicant, village unit, name of qualified candidates for that position, ID number, stock passport, ward of residence, and village of residence. Mr. Speaker and honorable members, in conclusion, the committee having considered the Kisumu County Administration Village Units Amendment Bill 2023, the committee therefore recommends that this Honorable House adopts this report with amendments for inclusion at the second reading stage. I wish to call upon the able Vice Chair of the committee, Honorable Engineer Ruben Rakwach. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Rakwach.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to second the motion which has just been moved by my able chair. Honorable Speaker, I urge the members to support this motion so that we can seal the gaps in the Kisumu County Administration Act 2019 as we conform to the County Government Act 2022. Honorable Speaker, remember we swore by the Constitution in this Honorable House to defend the Constitution of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, the Constitution provides, or rather the Act provides for the establishment of village council, and this is the lowest unit of devolution in our village unit. Right now, Honorable Speaker, the decisions of the village are being made by one person in the name of village administrator. If we pass this report, which will go a long way by operationalizing the establishment of the village council as stipulated in the County Government Act, Honorable Speaker, then we will end up with the village council in place, with the village members, and you will realize that the decisions in the village will be made by our 4 or 6 members, as opposed to now when it is being made by one person who comes from just a section of the village. I know when establishing the village council or operationalizing the village council, the council members will come from all the corners of the village unit. I urge our members to support this motion so that it helps us in delivering to the people, to the great people of Kisumu County. I second the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable members. A report on the Kisumu County Administration Village Units Amendment Bill 2023 has been moved as a motion by the Honorable Chair, Moses Ochele, seconded by the Vice Chair, Honorable Ruben Rakwach. And I propose to put a question that we open this report for debate. Honorable members, we are debating on the motion moved on the report on the Kisumu County Administration Village Units Amendment Bill 2023. Yes, Honorable Tom Nyauke.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to first take this opportunity to thank the committee for this vital report that they have brought before us this morning. I want to particularly give my gratitude to both the chair and the deputy chair, and indeed the whole committee, for the work well done. Mr. Speaker, we have gone through the report adequately, and we have, particularly myself, have noted quite a number of issues, Mr. Speaker. While we were going through the report, we have looked at particularly the area that talks about the public participation. Mr. Speaker, we have also listened carefully to submissions that came from different persons, including the recommendation or the issues that were raised by the a group of civil society, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, being the representative of the people from the basic root of a county setup, Mr. Speaker, we have seen quite a number of things and challenges. In fact, up to now, we are able to identify the type of challenges that we do incur, particularly in the management up to the village level of our wards, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, a number of issues were raised, as you can see in the report, and they were adequately addressed by the committee, Mr. Speaker. If you look at, for example, the issue that was being raised by the civil society organization that submitted that the bills attempt to allow county assembly MCS to vet or approve the recruitment of village administrators is unnecessary and amounts to political interference on express executive functions. Mr. Speaker, nothing can be further than from the truth, Mr. Speaker. We have looked at these things practically. We have analyzed the system, how it works, how the village, the current village admins are working. Mr. Speaker, there is a need that we make this thing for prosperity, Mr. Speaker, so that even those who are coming after us will use the appropriate acts that are supposed to guide the working and the functions, and the accurate functions of the village admins, Mr. Speaker. I therefore concur with the committee on the findings and the recommendations that they have given. Mr. Speaker, if you look at section 10, the one that they have inserted, particularly part 2 of that section 10, Mr. Speaker, that allows the service board that after the subsequent recruitments, after doing all those things, what they will only do is to submit the list of names in a prescribed form, Mr. Speaker, so that we are able to verify and see exactly who are these members from all those villages that have been picked up for subsequent works that they're supposed to do, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a very good recommendation that we are not only doing it for us, Mr. Speaker, but we are doing it for posterity. For those who will come even after us, they will be able to find now a good amended bill that they are able to put in a functional system, Mr. Speaker. I therefore agree and support this motion, and I actually implore upon my fellow members that let us be on record to support the adoption of this motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, the Honorable Kelvin Oraro. House does not choose the village council. It's provided for in the Act how you get the village council members. Another is the MCA going to choose the people who are favorable to them in the process of getting village administrators or the council members. The process is very clear, Honorable Member. So I just want to guide you that as you give your submission to the House, don't give a picture that the amendments that we're having before the House is meant to give the Honorable Members powers that are not provided for in any act or legislation. I think I'll allow you to proceed with the submission, but order, Honorable Member.
Point of information, Mr. Speaker.
Let me first finish my guidance to the Honorable Member. So, Honorable Member, for a good debater, and we want to see substance in what you are presenting before the House. And I believe you start guided by the submissions of the Chair. Other than that, let me hear from the Honorable Ruben Lakwach.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to inform my good brother, Honorable Oraro, that it is only the village administrator who has the minimum academic qualifications, not other members of the village council. So we should not generalize. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Oraro, I'm giving you an extra 1 minute to finish your submission. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, when you want to involve a service board with no minimum village units that we have, and making a village council for those areas will be a problem because of the clan and other reasons. And remember, the devolution is to assist people to feel that they are part.
Thank you, Honorable Member.
Mr. Speaker, I'm on repeat.
Yes, Senior Member Honorable Beni Pete Oiko.
Mr. Speaker, this bill is very crucial to members of county assembly. When you take it lightly, you may find later on how the ground will be hostile. The people who made the County Government Act 52 and 53 didn't just do it for the sake of it. They looked at the political situation on the ground and what an MCA is. when you look at the political hierarchy in Kenya, the most disadvantaged politician is the MCA. And I beg to think that is what they wanted to cure by section 52 and 53. Look at the governor. He's the owner of all wealth in the country. The MP, the owner of CDF. The woman rep, who at times people call women rep, but it's the woman rep. Do you know that the woman rep has a location? And do people know that a location? When you have how many words, it is multiplied by what? Isn't that the location of the woman rep? So, the good political officers in the county have resources, they have power. It is the office of the MCA who does not have that resources and does not have that power. That is why when the Constitution of Kenya 2010 was being promulgated, someone foresaw that how should an MCA be protected on the ground? Just as being echoed by Honorable Oraro, this thing has political connotation. The office of the village admin, the office of the village council. And that is why they said, let the executive do their part. Approval comes to the assembly. The word approval don't take lightly. That is a power we have been given by the Constitution of Kenya. We are not giving it to ourselves. It is the Kenyan Constitution that gave us the power to approve, to make the final decision. And that is what they now want to usurp from us. It is not beginning now. It was also there in the Second Assembly when they wanted to usurp that power from us. And we said no. I'm surprised today the real leadership of this assembly is not here. The majority leader, the whip came and went away. And this is very crucial to members. If the leadership of the assembly wants to play with this, I'm telling you we are finished. We must stand our ground, go by the act, let them do all the formalities, they bring the list for our approval. That's all that we want. The permanent terms of employment, we are not saying no. But does the act provide that? The act did not provide that. And this is an act that was made in Nairobi, not at the county assembly level. So if there's an amendment, let the amendment be done in Nairobi, the National Assembly. Then we shall have no power. If we want to protest, we shall go protest in Nairobi. But as it stands now, it is contract, 3 years. And it is renewable. So let the village administrators do their best. So that when the term for renewal comes, they try their luck. And because of their good service, they will get the other term. The proposals being made by the civil societies, have made a number of proposals. Page 12. Page 12, the civil society have made proposals here. Let me digress a little, Mr. Honorable Speaker. 2022, when we were going for election, an officer of a civil society in Kisumu County made a remark, and he went to public. An officer of a civil society made a remark, and he went to public, that the members of the assembly then, more than 98% of them should go home. That was a remark from a member of a civil society. Then he overpraised the clerk of Kisumu County Assembly, the best clerk in Kenya. That was a member of a civil society. I'm sorry, I hear that he has now passed on. The civil society should tell the people the truth. And they should enlighten the public. In most cases, they are fond of condemning the politicians, and they don't tell the public the truth. Like when you go to their meeting, I remember attending a meeting of a civil society one time at Wellspring Hotel. We were just invited. The conversation I found there, they were at pains to challenge the members of the county assembly on what they have done to the public. The question comes. And that is what they are fond of. What was your MCA done? What is your MCA doing on the ground? And they don't tell the members of the public. Members of the county assembly have no resources, have no allocation. We depend on the county government. We depend on the MP who has an allocation to develop the constituency. We depend on the woman representative who has an allocation on affirmative action. Or am I saying my own things? These are the two positions. So when they are fighting for the village admins to be permanent, that is good. That is good. Let them direct that fight to the National Assembly. Let them not antagonize us with the village admins. Because from the way they are arguing, it is like we are the people who have refused these people permanent and pensionable job, which is not the case. When they talk of politics on the ground on this position, they are wrong. Because politics on the ground on this position is what can kill us. And it has killed some of us. For example, in my ward, there are projects that were recommended for payment, and they were incomplete. And who did this? The Office of Ward Admin. A forum should be found where politicians should sit down with the officers of the NGO so that we tell them the truth. When a politician has no power on the ground to monitor the things happening, and the government officers don't see their value, I'm telling you, my people, you are finished as a politician. We are happy. These are our brothers and sisters. They should get employment, even if it is permanent and pensionable. But the word approval was not for the sake. The word approval was not for the sake of it. It has a lot of weight, and we cling to it. And that, it is contract. As it is now, we demand that. And that, their term can be renewed. We don't oppose that. Let them try their luck. Then we move on. I think those are the main things on this matter. The village admins to be permanent. We have no power to make them permanent. The word approval to be removed from us, we say no. The Constitution had given us that power, and it has a lot of political connotations, which we can't all expose here. We demand that, we do the approval, and we move on. And the regulations, we must demand the regulations on this act from the relevant county executive committee member, so that it does not fail the way it failed in the second assembly. Because in the second assembly, we passed the act, we approved the list that was brought to us, then things got stuck. Chair, this time, with your able leadership, let us see that we do it to conclusion. I so submit.
Yes, the honorable member for Central Seme, Honorable Mildred Ajumbo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I start by commending the members of the Committee of JLAC for the work they did. Mr. Speaker, sir, I stand to support their findings, their observations, and their recommendations. I'm not going to read their recommendations and observations. We all know it. My only issue is with the receipt and submissions of the public hearings by the civil society organizations named above, KMET and the rest. My issue is with item number 2, where the civil society saying that the petitioners have the county assembly, the authority to oversee the recruitment of village administrators and all that, as they're saying there's a conflict of interests. And then in item 3, they've also mentioned that the permanent and pensionable terms, I don't know whether they're the ones that confuse the ward administrators with the village, Mr. Speaker. In number 3, in their submissions, they are calling the village administrators the ward administrators. Mr. Speaker, I want to support what Honorable Iko Pete says, that it is indeed many of our people on the ground, even up to now, do not know the role of the members of the county assembly. Quite a number of people on the ground do not even know what entails the bill that we are discussing, simply because the members of the civil societies that are supposed to educate members of the ward are very busy talking about village units. Yet we have a number of projects that are done on the ground, Mr. Speaker, that are not completed on the ground. Those are the things that the devolution was to go down to the village unit. Yet the people that voted and the members of the public are not feeling anything on the ground. When you walk in many of our wards, you come across a number of projects that are not completed since 2013. The members of the society are there, busy inciting the village members, and I'm very disappointed, Mr. Speaker, that a whole civil society, 6 of them, coming up to say that MCAs, that it means that we are coming up with this bill like we are malicious. Mr. Speaker, this is not in good light what the members of the society are doing to this assembly. Indeed, our work as oversight is being undermined by the members of the societies, and I would encourage members of the society, of the civil society, to go to the ground, educate the members of the public on the rights of the citizen as stipulated in the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, as I sit down, I want to support the recommendations by the committee. I said I will not repeat what they have said, but I want to support by saying yes, it is high time that the members of this county assembly are given the respect due and what the Constitution says, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
All members, we are debating on the report on the Kisumu County Administration Village Units Amendment Bill of 2023. Yes, the Honorable Zachary Okoyo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the report by JLAC. Mr. Speaker, I would want to support Kisumu County Amendment Village Unit Amendment Bill of 2022 because, Mr. Speaker, 2023, because, Mr. Speaker, I've gone through the report, and, Mr. Speaker, indeed I want to agree that there is a lacuna in the Kisumu County Village Unit Act of 2019. Mr. Speaker, it is obvious the village unit is not complete without the village council. And, Mr. Speaker, I want to bring to the attention of this House that, like other members have mentioned, Mr. Speaker, there has been a lot of misunderstanding and disagreement between the village admin and the ward admins in our wards. Mr. Speaker, at times we understand the ward admins are staff who are being transferred. And I want to also mention that at times the village admins assume powers which sometimes are not supposed to be theirs. And this comes because they are supposed to have meetings with their village councils. But because the village councils are not there, they tend to assume powers which are for the ward admins. Mr. Speaker, it is indeed also the ward admins, most of them, abandon their duties for the village admins because they find village admins not having enough responsibilities. And this has been a norm, and it brings a lot of confrontation in our ward units. Mr. Speaker, you can't say we have village councils without mentioning how they are going to be enumerated. And Mr. Speaker, I believe if we amend this act, then we will be able to pass a bill which is going to enumerate the village councils so that they be part of the village admin's office, so that the devolution which is meant to be at the lowest point be active. And Mr. Speaker, I had my colleagues mentioning that some areas, because the village admins are two in a ward, I want to mention this as well. This comes because the village councils which were supposed to be in place are not there, and then the other part of the village finds themselves not to be represented. If the village councils can be in place and made active, this issue of other areas which are not being represented will cease to be there. So, Mr. Speaker, I support the amendment, and I ask my colleagues, honorable members, also to support. Thank you.
Yes, the honorable member for North Kisumu, Samuel Dede.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for also according me the opportunity to hear my sentiment.
Useme, Honorable Millicent Omoya.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to make my contribution towards the report that has just been read by the Committee of JLAC. First, I want to take this opportunity to congratulate Honorable Chell and his team for doing such a nice report. I can remember from the initiation point of the whole thing, there was a statement. And my major concern was how the village council was being remunerated. And in the process, we learned that the whole process was started and left at a point. I'm happy that the committee has dug and dug so much deep, and now we are seeing more than what we requested for. It's my plea and request that as much we were working on it, or the committee was working on it, I personally think that it is the right time that as an assembly we are going to bring sanity in the administration of this county. Because back in the village or in the world, if you look at how the village admins are so much powerful. In terms of administration, some of them are so much powerful, even more than the ward admin. And if you go beyond administration, most of them are so much deep in politics. I think if we put measures and conditions that will streamline the issue of administration back from the village to the level of sub-county, we'll be in a position to correct so many things. I've just heard what Honorable Oyuko was talking about, the approval of projects that have not been completed and are being paid. So many times these meetings and the approvals are just done by the village admins. So it's my prayer that the recommendations that have been made in the report of this JLAC concerning issue of administration will streamline and put us in a better position with our administrations to ensure that all that has been happening contrary to the laws are put in order. Thank you so much, and I support.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to support the bill. And I always believe that the spirit of the devolution was to take the services closer to the people. And having the village council and the village unit, that will be the smallest unit of devolution. And indeed, it's high time that we need to have them. If you go through the report clearly, I also believe that the intention and the purpose of this bill is to bring clarity in what the council will be doing. Actually, the village admins, the village council, and the ward admin needs to understand their roles and mandate as a council and what they are supposed to do. Another clarity that we also need to have is what the civil society is representing outside there.
most of the forums that we've been having them, there is always a tug of war between the civil societies and the elected leaders. And I really doubt if at a particular time they will always give a positive recommendation to the elected leaders. Mr. Speaker, if you look at, but then we are some of the people, I'm one of the people who had been profiled as those who are fighting the village admins, that we wanted to usurp their powers to choose. But if you look at the report clearly, it states how the village admins and the councils should be appointed. And I really thank the committee for having that elaborate way of how they are supposed to be collected. If we really, of how they are supposed to be elected. If we really want to see the services being done at our ward levels, let us support this bill, Mr. Speaker. Thank you so much.
Yes, the Honorable Deputy Chief Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I can see the House is exhausted, so may I call the mover to reply.
The Honorable Chele Moses.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. May I take this opportunity to commend the House, the members, on their positive contribution towards the motion. And Mr. Speaker, it is very encouraging to get a debate where unanimously the House, the entire House, has given their positive voice. That means it is indeed a matter that touches our constituencies, that is the wards, and it is a matter that is of importance to our county government. Mr. Speaker, the intention of the proposed amendment is just to simplify the work of the executive. It is to ease their work on the best way to come up with the devolved function, the devolved unit, and its council. Mr. Speaker, in the County Governments Act, before I move to the County Governments Act, in the Constitution, we have two governments, and the second government can be expressly be mentioned to be 47. In total, we have 48 governments, and these 48 governments are interdependent. In the county government, Mr. Speaker, the County Governments Act expressly states that there are three arms. There's the executive, headed by the governor. There's the legislature, that's the assembly, headed by the speaker. And there's the village council, headed by the village administrator. Three-tier arrangement of governance in the Kisumu, in the county government. Mr. Speaker, the intention and purpose of the amendment bill, as was introduced by Honorable Nyauke, is not for the sitting members of the assembly today. Neither is it for the sitting village administrators today, nor the intended office of the village council, but it is for posterity, to be used against my children or for my children, be used forever unless other counter amendments are proposed in the future. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Nyauke raised, Honorable Jumbo raised a confusion in the submissions of the members of the civil society, where they confuse two aspects. Aspect one, which is the subject today, is about the village administrators. But in their own submissions, which was in soft copy, they are mostly referring to ward administrators. So I don't want to assume that they meant otherwise. I want to pick, as they posted it, that ward administrators are on permanent and pensionable terms. We can't review that, and if that is what they intended, this assembly cannot review it in any other way. They are in permanent and pensionable terms. That means they are transferable. Mr. Speaker, the mandate and the procedure for appointment and recruitment of village council members is expressly given in a superior legislative document, that's the County Governments Act, and we pick it as that. We don't have a capacity to propose any amendment in the County Governments Act. Mr. Speaker, going by Section 52. Section 52 gives the procedure on how a village administrator can be recruited. It is expressly given to the County Public Service Board, and it is through competitive process. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, there is no any other way this assembly, nor the committee or JLAC could have proposed otherwise. This assembly has no mandate to recruit a village administrator. This assembly has only the mandate to oversight what the executive does, including recruitment of the leader of the third tier, that is the village administrator, and his cabinet, that is the council. Mr. Speaker, in the County Government Act, Section 53 narrates on how we come up with village council. Mr. Speaker, I had a member mention that the village council is also competitively advertised. No. The village council members are appointed by their president, who is the village administrator. After appointing them in the village, then they send the list to the County Public Service Board for onward transmission to the assembly. So you get how powerful the village council, the village administrator is. He has express authority. He can choose to consult what admin, sub-county admin, or you, or anybody else, but the power is vested on the office of village administrator. Mr. Speaker, it is also expressly given by that superior legislation that the village council, the village administrator is the chairman of the village council. So we cannot talk of a village council, Mr. Speaker, in separation from the village council. They are one and the same, because there can't be a chair without a council. We can't call village administrator to be a chair without a council. Neither can we call a council to be competently constituted without the chairman. So when we are talking of the village council, Mr. Speaker, we are talking of a wholesome unit, the committee and the cabinet at the village level, chairman and the members of this council. Mr. Speaker, in the same County Governments Act, it gives this assembly, not assembly giving itself power to approve village administrator, but the County Governments Act states that the members of the council, because I had civil society saying that they are not state officers, they are not public officers, but now, with the importance attached to the office and responsibility, the drafters of the Act, the National Assembly, realize that for effective and smooth running of village functions, they have to be approved by this House. And Mr. Speaker, how do we approve a committee and forgetting to approve the chair? Why must we separate the chair from his team? Why must we separate a father from his children? If the Constitution, the Act gives us express power to vet, to approve the village council, Mr. Speaker, we approve village council in entirety, because village council is one unit including the chair and the membership. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I find no contradiction, and I realize most members are in agreement that there is no contradiction of the superior law. We are adhering to the law, to the latter. Mr. Speaker, as we speak today, Kisumu County has had village administrators. I heard from Honorable Dede that they are working and their work is has some confusion because they even overlap with the functions of the ward administrator. Mr. Speaker, going by the spirit of the Constitution, that's the spirit of the County Governments Act, the role of the village administrator is entirely tied to the council. He has no any other role outside that which is given by the law about the village council. But because we don't have village council in operation, Mr. Speaker, these people find no role to do other than doing that which is to be done by the ward administrators. So the overlap is created because the village council is not in place. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, if the role of village administrator rotates, galvanates around the council, therefore it means for the past 3 years, these village administrators have not done their role. And if a serious legislative regime is in place, then, Mr. Speaker, they can even be asked, why have you been earning salary without your function being operationalized? Minus village council members, the village council have not done any work, and they ought not to have been earning salaries for not doing anything, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Oraro Kevin talked about qualification of the village council members and the village administrator and the way they are appointed. Mr. Speaker, in the Kisumu County Village Unit Act 2019, it is indicated and borrowed from the County Governments Act that the only position that is advertised by the County Public Service Board is the position of the village administrator. And therefore, they are attached a reasonable level of academic qualification, that is O-level and or post O-level in administration. Otherwise, I have not met anywhere in the Act where we talk of village council members' qualification. It only mentions the chair. The chair must have a minimum O-level or plus a post O-level certificate in administration. Mr. Speaker, I was saying about the powers as indicated by Honorable Oraru. The village admin, if the council is well constituted, is a very powerful organ, more powerful than even the sub-county admin. Because number one power, which it has, is only shared by Public Service Board and the governor himself, who can directly appoint a member into an office. Because the village council admin has the power to appoint. All the Public Service Board has such power, and the governor. So you can see the importance attached to this office. And also, Mr. Speaker, anything on the grassroots, be it public participation, the report is written by the village administrator through the resolution of his council. He'll be having a council, a parliament, where they legislate on matters development in their unit, Mr. Speaker. This is not a simple office. It is simple because it is the lowest ranking, but it has a lot of powers attached to it because of the roles assigned to it by the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, I want to echo what my brother, Honorable Oiko Pete, said, that we are in collaboration with the members of the civil society. But in a number of occasions, they betray the cause, the noble cause that should gear both the legislatures and themselves to developing or to bettering the livelihood of our citizens. Mr. Speaker, There are so many provisions in the law where members are appointed on contract basis. Mr. Speaker, number one, in the last government, we had 10 CCMs. 10 CCMs. They were hired for a contract of 5 years. Mr. Speaker, when their term came to an end, they went home. Nobody supported them. Members of civil society were very much alive, but they did not raise a finger. They went home. Positions were advertised. Some applied. Those who applied, some were retained. Others went home. Nobody defended them. Mr. Speaker, we had the positions of chief officers. 10 chief officers or thereabout. When their contract came to an end, they went home, including your friend, Mr. Speaker, whose name I don't want to mention, went home peacefully, applied, went through vetting, went through interview, public service board, came to the assembly for vetting, and now they are in office. When they were going home, members of the civil society were there. What did they say? What did they do? They kept quiet because that is the position of the law. Mr. Speaker, how about the directors? We had about 52 directors. When their contract came to an end, all of them went home. Some applied, are absorbed, others are nowhere within our hierarchy. Who defended them? Nobody, because the law states so. So I find it very funny, and I want to say that most members find it very funny, that why critique this position, this law that gives members of the village administrators 3 years contract. Why is their contract bringing controversy? What interest does this attach which cannot be attached to any other position above them? Mr. Speaker, I'm calling upon the civil society members to be non-partisan, to be conversant with the law, and protect the law as it is without observed biasness. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Iko talked of sub-county admins and what admins and the village admins. Mr. Speaker, in Nyando sub-county, I don't know what happens in other sub-counties, but I've gotten complaints that the sub-county admins are getting it easier working with village admins and bypassing the ward admins. Mr. Speaker, the hierarchy is things should flow from village administrator, ward administrator, upwards. But as it is now, because the village administrators do not have anything to do, they are being used. I don't want to use the word misuse. They are being used by sub-county administrators to undermine the village administrators. We want harmony to prevail in our sub-counties. We don't want anybody to feel belittled. Everybody has a duty, and we should allow them to perform such duties as enshrined in their contract of service. Mr. Speaker, I want just to summarize by saying that this House has no beef, has no malice with anybody in this county. This House, Mr. Speaker, is majorly composed of people, members on contract. And Mr. Speaker, in the next 4 years, the contract of these members will be over. They'll not go to court, they'll go to the public court to seek for a new mandate. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, as members who understand that there is obligation and understanding of the law based on contractual obligations, Mr. Speaker, we'll go home. And we'll go home gracefully. And we expect anybody else that the law states should go home gracefully. If there's a provision to reapply, please reapply and pray that the service board considers you. Otherwise, this House has no mandate to recruit. This House has no intention to usurp powers of the Public Service Board. It is their mandate. Let the village administrators, the moment their contract comes to a stop, Let them get out, reapply, pray that they be reabsorbed. We are ready to work with them at any time when they are back. But so long as the law is followed to the letter. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I reply.
Thank you, honorable members. A report from the Committee on Administration of Law, Justice, Good Governance, Constitutional Affairs, and Security on the Kisumu County Administration Village Units Amendment Bill 2023 has been moved as a motion, seconded, debated, and now it's time to put a question for adoption. And I put the question that as many as of the opinion that we adopt the report on the Kisumu County Administration Village Units Amendment Bill 2023, say aye. As many as of the contrary opinion, say nay. The ayes have it, honorable members. And the report on the Kisumu County Administration Village Unit Amendment Bill 2023 from the Committee on Administration of Law, Justice, Good Governance, Constitutional Affairs, and Security has been adopted today, Wednesday, 8th November 2023 at 11:06 hours. Honorable members, this report will inform the changes on the Kisumu County Administration Village Units Bill during our second reading. Thank you, honorable members. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and honorable members. There's no any other business to be transacted in the order paper.
Honorable members, there being no any other business to transact, this House stands adjourned until today, 2:30 p.m.